The national planning frameworks foster a shared understanding of the roles and responsibilities and key activities involved in all facets of national preparedness, from your house to the firehouse to the White House. This 15-minute presentation is intended to give you an overall sense of what you'll find in the frameworks, so you can be aware of how they can help you in your work and in your community. In particular, we'll talk about 3 things that you can do now that the frameworks are released. First, read the frameworks. Second, consider the key concepts. Third, apply the frameworks to your preparedness efforts. As we discuss these 3 points, you'll hear about how the frameworks are structured and some of the key concepts to think about. Depending on your roles and responsibilities, you may find it helpful to pursue more tailored or in-depth resources after viewing this presentation. You can find many resources on the same page that you found this tutorial, www.fema.gov/national-planning-frameworks. You can also search the FEMA library for the frameworks themselves. The FEMA library is at www.fema.gov/library. Let's get started. The first thing you can do is read the frameworks. Each of the documents in the suite of national planning frameworks covers one element or mission area of national preparedness. 4 frameworks are available now: prevention, mitigation, response, and recovery. One more framework, for the protection mission area, is under development and will be released at a later date. The authors are making sure the protection framework aligns with emerging national protection policy. The frameworks provide the strategy to guide the whole community in a unity of action to build, sustain, and deliver the capabilities necessary for a secure and resilient nation. So what do the mission areas cover? Prevention covers the capabilities necessary to avoid, prevent, or stop a threatened or actual act of terrorism within the United States. Protection covers the capabilities necessary to secure the homeland against acts of terrorism and man-made or natural disasters. It focuses on actions to protect citizens, residents, visitors, and critical assets, systems, and networks against the greatest risks to our nation in a manner that allows our interests, aspirations, and way of life to thrive. Mitigation covers the capabilities necessary to reduce loss of life and property by lessening the effects of disasters. Response covers the capabilities necessary to save lives, protect property and the environment, and meet basic human needs after an incident has occurred. And finally, recovery covers the capabilities necessary to help state and local communities recover from a disaster. It focuses on a timely restoration, strengthening, and revitalization of the infrastructure, housing, a sustainable economy, and the health, social, cultural, historic, and environmental fabric of affected communities. Together, these frameworks describe how the whole community works together to achieve the national preparedness goal. The goal is a secure and resilient nation with the capabilities required across the whole community to prevent, protect against, mitigate, respond to, and recover from the threats and hazards that pose the greatest risk. The full frameworks are available online at www.fema.gov/national-planning-frameworks. Additional resources to help you and your community implement the frameworks are available there too. Each of the frameworks has a similar content, and 3 of them, prevention, mitigation, and response, follow the same structure. So once you read one, the others should seem familiar and easy to navigate. The National Disaster Recovery Framework has a slightly different structure, as it was already being developed before the others were started. Nevertheless, the nature of the content is consistent with the others. This is the roadmap for the 3 similar frameworks: Introduction, Scope, Roles and Responsibilities, Core Capabilities, Coordinating Structures and Integration, Relationship to Other Mission Areas, Operational Planning, Supporting Resources, and Conclusion. The introduction sets the stage for the rest of the document. It describes the purpose, structure, and intended audience. Next, the Scope section sets the parameters for what the framework and the mission area cover. It also lists a few guiding principles and the basis for risk. After the introductory sections, we move into roles and responsibilities. This is where we summarize the roles that each part of the whole community plays in each mission area. You'll see sections for individuals, families and households, communities, non-governmental organizations, private sector entities, that's business and industry, and all levels of government, state, local, tribal, territorial, insular area, and federal. The next section of the framework is core capabilities. These are the things that will help us achieve the national preparedness goal. Each core capability is covered along with a list of critical tasks. This should help you visualize the kinds of things you and your community could be doing for each core capability. The Coordinating Structures and Integration section is intended to help you learn about some of the groups that help coordinate information sharing, facilitate problem solving, and improve access to resources. Some coordinating structures are relevant to only one framework, while others, such as the Citizen Corps program, have broad reach and are listed in several frameworks. The Relationship to Other Mission Areas section talks about how the frameworks relate to one another. Next, the Operational Planning section talks about how you can apply the concepts in the framework to your operational planning processes. Each framework closes with a section listing some supporting resources, such as online resource centers, and finally, the conclusion. As you read the frameworks, think about the key concepts. Whole community, the risk-driven capabilities-based approach, and consider how you can practice those concepts in your everyday work. You'll hear the phrase whole community when we talk about national preparedness. When we say whole community, we mean everyone. Individuals and families, including those with access and functional needs, businesses, faith-based and community organizations, nonprofit groups, schools and academia, media outlets, and all levels of government. You are a part of the whole community. Think about the different roles you play, as an individual and a family member, and as a resident of a community. You may also have roles as an employee, volunteer, student, or member of a faith-based organization, social club, or community group. The frameworks recognize that you do things every day in each of these roles to support national preparedness. As you move forward with your preparedness activities, keep a whole community frame of mind. Make sure the whole community is involved in developing preparedness plans, and also that their roles are reflected in those plans. With this whole community mindset, everyone can truly work together to keep our nation safe and secure. The second key concept to consider is that our preparedness efforts ought to be driven by risk. It's a big part of the national preparedness goal and the frameworks. Just think about it. There are many risks, big and small, and it's challenging to tackle them all, especially when there's a finite number of resources, things like people, supplies, services, and funding. So preparedness efforts need to focus on addressing our greatest risks. To determine what the greatest risks are, the framework authors looked to the findings of the Strategic National Risk Assessment. This assessment examined a range of threats and hazards and determined that our nation's greatest threats are natural hazards, pandemics, technological or accidental hazards, terrorist attacks, and cyber attacks. To address those risks, we have a set of core capabilities, and you'll see those in the frameworks, along with some critical tasks for each one. Adopting a risk-driven, capabilities-based approach, identifying and assessing the greatest risks in your community or organization, and understanding what is needed to address them helps everyone focus their efforts in smart ways. The National Preparedness Goal identifies 31 core capabilities. Each framework covers a certain set of core capabilities. 3 capabilities are covered in all mission areas: planning, public information and warning, and operational coordination. When you look at how they are aligned, you'll notice that prevention capabilities focus on things related to preventing an imminent terrorist attack. By imminent, we mean an attack that is about to happen. Protection capabilities focus on protective measures, making sure things, systems, and people are secure and protected. These capabilities reflect what we do during the normal course of day-to-day activities, as well as immediately before, during, and after a disaster. Mitigation capabilities focus on risk, resilience, and building a culture of preparedness. Threat and hazard identification and risk assessment fall under mitigation, and the things learned through those processes affect activities in the other mission areas too. Response capabilities focus on meeting a community's immediate needs when disaster strikes. And finally, recovery capabilities focus on getting state, local, and tribal communities back on their feet. When we think about preparedness in practical, real-life, capabilities-based ways, we will come back again and again to these core capabilities. After you read the frameworks and consider the key concepts of a whole community and risk-driven, capabilities-based approach, you'll be ready to apply the frameworks to your operational planning. When it's all said and done, the frameworks are just that, frameworks. They'll provide the starting point, a basic understanding of the players and activities involved, so that everyone can build their own operational plans and be more effective in all their preparedness efforts. When you read the frameworks and apply the key concepts we mentioned earlier, whole community, risk-driven, capabilities-based, you will notice relationships among the various core capabilities and mission areas. For example, if you have effective mitigation efforts before a disaster strikes, like elevating structures in areas with flood risks, you may see less damage and therefore less need for response and recovery when the waters rise. And response and recovery operations after a terrorist attack, for example, typically involve prevention capabilities, as those officials are on the lookout for follow-on attacks. You will get a better sense of these relationships by reading the frameworks and considering the key concepts, and then you'll be ready to apply the frameworks to your operational planning. Let's close this overview with a poignant message that appears in the conclusion section of several frameworks. It provides us a fitting reminder of why what we do is important. America's security and resilience work is never finished. While the nation is safer, stronger, and better prepared than a decade ago, the commitment to safeguard the nation against the greatest risks it faces, now and for decades to come, remains resolute. By bringing the whole community together to support the collective and integrated action needed now to address the shared future needs, the nation will continue to ensure its preparedness to face whatever challenges unfold. For more information on the National Planning Frameworks, visit www.fema.gov/national-planning-frameworks.